Libra, my dear soul traveler. What's about to be revealed in this message has the power to break you wide open, but in that breaking, you will find the one thing you've been quietly craving: truth. A heartbreaking truth is being exposed. And once you see it, you will never be the same again. I'm not here to sugarcoat what's coming. I'm here to deliver what your intuition has been whispering to you for weeks, maybe even months, words your mind tried to silence, but your soul kept repeating. And that's why you're here now. Not by accident. Not by coincidence. You're here because the universe has chosen this moment to uncover what has been hidden in plain sight. Libra, you've always fought for balance, for peace, for fairness. But sometimes, maintaining that balance comes at the cost of betraying your own knowing. You see the best in people. You give second chances. You hold space. And in doing so, you've let certain energies linger too long in your orbit. But not anymore. Today, you'll start to feel the unraveling. Maybe it's already begging a strange message, a shift in someone's tone, a loose thread in a carefully crafted lie. The signs are subtle, but once seen, they cannot be unseen. And the truth? It's not just emotional, it's spiritual. It's financial. It's energetic. Someone has built a false reality around you, and you've been breathing air that was never meant to nourish you. I swear to you, on everything sacred and holy to me, this message is not for entertainment. This is divine intervention. So, take a deep breath, Libra. What you're about to hear will require your courage. But it will also remind you of your power. You are not weak for having loved. You are not foolish for having trusted. You are human and your grace is your strength. Let this moment be your turning point. Let this be the instant you choose to see clearly, to honor what you know, and to claim your freedom from illusions. And if you've made it this far, I want to ask you something sacred. Take a moment and comment below with the words, "I accept the truth. I am ready to see." Let that be your digital prayer, your contract with the universe that you're done settling for half-truths and emotional manipulation. That comment will not only anchor this moment energetically, it will let me and the entire Zodiac Whisper Tarot family know you're awake, and you're claiming what's yours. Before we go deeper, allow me to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Every like, every comment, every time you subscribe or share, it's not just support. It's alignment. It's you helping this channel be a lighthouse for others, just like it is right now for you. And trust me, Libra, you'll want to stay until the very end of today's message. Because what the universe is revealing is not just dramatis, it's divine. And the version of you that walks away from this? She's unshakable. Now, tell me, Libra, what brought you here today? And what truth have you been afraid to see? Sometimes what we call confusion is simply our soul remembering what the mind tried to forget. Libra, the truth that has been buried beneath layers of softness and self-preservation is not new to you. It's been there, beneath your skin, like a vibration that doesn't stop humming, waiting for the moment when you would finally stop explaining it away. You've always known. Maybe not in facts or logic, but in feeling. That tightness in your chest around a certain someone. That pause before you answered a question. That sleepless night that had no name, just wait. That's the truth speaking through your body long before your mind allowed it. You are a sign of balance, ruled by Venus, the planet of beauty, connection, and love. But your longing to keep peace, to give others the benefit of the doubt, has at times come at the cost of clarity. You've learned to silence your inner radar just to keep the scales from tipping. But energy doesn't lie. And now, the scales are tipping themselves back into justice, whether you're ready or not. Imagine yourself standing in a room full of mirrors, none of which reflect your true face. That's what emotional manipulation often feels like. People feed you versions of reality that bend just enough to feel plausible, but never quite true. This chapter is about recognizing when you've been walking through a fog that wasn't yours. Sometimes love can cloud our vision, not because it's weak, but because it's generous. You loved past the inconsistencies. You forgave past the knots in your stomach. You hoped through the red flags. And that doesn't make you naive, it makes you compassionate. But even compassion has its limits. The hermit, in tarot, is not a figure of loneliness, is a figure of wisdom. He retreats not to escape, but to see clearly. And that is the energy moving around you now. The truth is preparing to step out of hiding, and so are you. It might come in something as seemingly small as a misplaced text or a casual confession from someone who's finally tired of keeping secrets. But it will arrive. And when it does, your first instinct might be to question yourself again. Don't. Trust that first wave. Trust the sensation before the mind interferes. That is your soul's language. And in the busyness of life, where every moment is rushed and every hour accounted for, you might feel the urge to ignore this inner signal once Moretto postpone it. Please don't. What comes now is sacred. Not loud or dramatic, but soul-shifting. Make space for it, the way you would for a sunrise you know will change the way you see the entire day. There are stories of ordinary people who experience a single, unexplainable momentum train that saves their life, a voice in a dream that warns them just in time, a stranger who offers the exact words they needed to hear. We don't always have to label those moments. But we can allow ourselves to believe that something greater is coordinating the timing of truth. And in that quiet belief, we begin to trust again, not in others, but in ourselves. So I invite you, Libra, to pause here and reflect. Not with judgment, not with fear, but with the gentle curiosity that lives within every seeker. Maybe this is the moment your heart has been preparing for all along. And if you feel it, if something in you stirs as you listen, write it down. Comment below. I choose to see with the eyes of my soul, not the illusion of emotion. Let that be your anchor. Not just for today, but for every day that follows. Because the truth is not just about what's revealed, it's about who you become once you finally see it. Dear Libra, you felt it, haven't you? That strange dissonance between what someone says to your face and what your soul whispers behind your back. When you look into their eyes, there's warmth, but it's hollow. When they compliment you, you smile, but something in you flinches. This isn't paranoia. This is your divine intuition alerting you that not all love is light, and not all closeness is safe. A heartbreaking truth is being exposed now because the universe is aligning in your favor, not to break you, but to finally free you. And yes, the person who has been hiding the most is someone so close. They once knew the sound of your heartbeat in stillness. This is the part of your journey where illusions fall, and the masks people wear can no longer survive in the presence of your rising light. Spiritually speaking, this is the energy of the moon card in tarot, a realm of shadows, secrets, and soft deceptions that thrive in emotional fog. But Libra, when the moonlight is full, nothing can remain hidden. The shadows themselves become your allies, guiding you to see beyond what is said, into what is felt, what is missing, and what has been manipulated. You may start to see patterns in hindsight, someone who always redirected the conversation when you asked too many questions, or who kept their phone screen turned down when they sat next to you. Perhaps you were gaslight, made to doubt your instincts with phrases like, "You're overreacting," or "You always think the worst." In truth, your spirit knew something was off. And the fog they crafted was not confusion, it was deliberate. Emotional manipulation, like gaslighting, is the enemy of clarity and self-trust. But no more. Your energy field is changing, and it will no longer support relationships built on performance and illusion. In many sacred teachings, we learn that betrayal does not come from a fire, it comes from the ones who sit closest to the flame. Like Judas at the Last Supper, betrayal can wear the face of familiarity. It knows your rhythm, your softness, your faith. And it chooses to take advantage. Not all who share the table with you are meant to walk with you into the next season. And that's okay. God never allows a mask to fall without preparing your heart for what's next. He removes what delays your destiny. And in some cases, exposure is divine protection disguised as disappointment. Sometimes the betrayal is subtle. Maybe they've been living far above their means without you knowing, or they have a secret connection to someone you intuitively felt was not safe. Maybe they've been planning their next chapter without including you in it. Or perhaps their loyalty was always contingent, only present when you were useful, but silent when you were vulnerable. And yet, Libra, your grace shines through it all. It's okay to mourn the version of the person you thought you knew. But do not grieve too long, because what's leaving was never meant to stay. You are being ushered into alignment with truth, and with that truth comes clarity, power, and peace. You will sleep better. Breathe deeper. Love wiser. Trust yourself again. And that is priceless. So I ask you, beautiful soul, are you willing to let the light in, even if it hurts at first? Are you ready to live in alignment with truth, no matter what it costs to your old story? If your answer is yes, type it into the comments now. I allow the light of truth to reveal every mask around me. Let this declaration echo across the field of your future, signaling to the universe that you're no longer available for deception. You are worthy of realness, reflection, and resonance. You are no longer just seeking peace, you are embodying it. And anything that cannot live in that vibration will fall away, effortlessly. There's something incredibly sacred that happens when you finally start to see the truth, not just through your eyes, but through the quiet whisper of your intuition. And in this phase of your journey, dear Libra, your awareness begins to touch the realm of money and material energy. It's no longer about love or betrayal, it's about control, resources, and energetic sovereignty. When someone repeatedly says they're broke, yet always seems to have enough for indulgence, it's more than a contradiction, it's a signal. A signal that there may be hidden flows of wealth, financial dynamics kept secret from you, not out of necessity, but out of manipulation. You may have noticed, in hindsight, how certain people made you feel guilty for asking questions, or made it seem like your needs were too much, all while they subtly benefited from your generosity, labor, or emotional devotion. This isn't just financial imbalance, it's energetic theft. In the language of astrology, Libra governs balance and fairness. But what most people forget is that true balance is not passive, it is a continual act of recalibration. With the current cosmic shifts, especially with Venus recently squaring Pluto and bringing hidden power struggles to the surface, many Libras are beginning to see where they've been financially disempowered. Money is never just money. It is an extension of our energy, our time, and our soul's contribution. When you offer your effort, your ideas, or even your emotional support, and someone benefits from it without acknowledgement or fair exchange, that is a spiritual debt, not just a material one. And the universe always keeps receipts. The reversed Eight of Pentacles in this phase is no coincidence. It reveals where you've been putting in the effort, but the energy has not been returned. This card whispers the truth that's been buried under years of emotional fog. Your value has not been properly recognized, not by them, and perhaps, not even by you. But here's the miracle: when you choose to stop participating in the illusion falls apart. The law of attraction responds not to what you tolerate, but to what you claim. When you say, "I end all forms of financial manipulation," you aren't just speaking words, you are cutting cords, reprogramming energetic agreements, and opening the vaults of true abundance. Now imagine this: a woman once worked quietly in a hospital, underpaid and unseen, giving everything she had to patients while her supervisor took credit for her innovations. Years later, after leaving that toxic environment and speaking her truth even if it was trembling, she was led into a new space, a new position, where a stranger recognized her gift and offered her the opportunity of a lifetime. That wasn't just coincidence. That was divine orchestration. That was God revealing in broad daylight what had once been hidden in shadow. The scripture that says, "What is whispered in darkness will be shouted from rooftops," reminds us that justice is not always instant, but it is inevitable. So if you've been feeling drained, used, or confused when it comes to your finances, don't internalize it as failure. Internalize it as the moment right before God makes a way. Let this be the part where you reclaim your energy, not with vengeance, but with clarity. Your abundance has never left you. It was simply being redirected until you remembered that it belonged to you. Ask yourself gently, where have I been giving more than I'm receiving? Where have I accepted half-truths instead of full transparency? And what would it feel like to live in full energetic ownership of your time, your talents, and your treasure? Comment below if this resonates with you. I call back my financial power. I align with the truth of divine abundance. And if you're ready to walk away from the illusion and into your miracle, subscribe to Zodiac Whisper Tarot, because here, we don't just decode the stars. We empower you to rise with them. When you've just discovered a truth so raw it shakes the ground beneath your feet, your first instinct might be to respond, to react, to fight back. But here, my dear Libra, the cosmos is asking something far more profound of you: stillness. This is not a time for confrontation. This is a sacred Pao-Si divine invitation to step back and step within. Your soul is not calling for a battle, it is calling for a sanctuary. And in astrology, we often speak of the hermit archetype as a symbol not of isolation, but of illumination. During moments when everything external feels uncertain or manipulated, the true wisdom emerges not from doing, but from being. The act of retreating isn't weakness, it is the most empowered choice a spiritually awake person can make. The hermit doesn't run from the world, he chooses to face it with inner clarity first. There's a deep energetic importance to creating your own sacred container. Even just 24 hours of silence, true, intentional silence can act as a powerful spiritual reset. You're not just quieting the noise around you, you're quieting the echoes of manipulation, of pressure, of financial confusion that may have clouded your insight. Imagine this time as your divine timeout, not a punishment, but a preparation. In this gentle stillness, start small, a warm salt bath to release old energetic ties, a slow and steady breath following the 448 rhythm, inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 8, to calm your nervous system, and a journal nearby where your hand is allowed to speak before your mouth ever does. Let your truth pour out in ink, not in confrontation. What emerges from the pen can heal what is buried in the heart. Your physical body is your vessel for awakening, and it, too, needs nourishment in this time of recalibration. Water simple, clear, life-giving flushes the emotional residue from your cells. Light meals that honor simplicity help you remember that peace isn't found in excess, but in essence. Adding zinc into your routine might sound small, but even that supports your nervous system as you hold space for transformation. You are supporting your healing on every level: emotional, energetic, physical. Color, as many ancient traditions teach, is also medicine. Surrounding yourself with the energy of emerald green Libra's healing hue this cycle can help stabilize the heart chakra, gently opening you to give and receive love again without fear. Meanwhile, silver white tones carry the vibration of spiritual clarity and lunar purification. Imagine wrapping yourself in a silk scarf of silver light, like angel wings cocooning you in stillness and truth. These colors aren't just aesthetic, they are energetic frequencies that work in quiet tandem with your process of restoration. And while we're speaking of restoration, let me remind you of something sacred. Your value is not found in what others take from you or how loud your voice can be when provoked. Your power lies in what you choose to cultivate when no one is watching. This hermit time is not lonely, it is holy. You are not lost, you are being shown a deeper map. And sometimes, God doesn't answer you in words. He answers you in silence. In the space where you stop talking, thinking, reacting, He speaks. He redirects. He heals. There are stories from every corner of the world, miracles that happen not when someone fought, but when they surrendered. And maybe that's your miracle moment, Libra. Maybe this is where everything you thought was a breakdown becomes your breakthrough. So, now I ask you, can you honor your soul enough to pause? Can you give yourself the gift of stepping back, not in fear, but in reverence for what's rising within you? This is your time to soften, to listen inward, to prepare not to escape, but to emerge wiser, clearer, freer. If you're feeling this message deeply, let it echo into the universe. Comment below, I step into hermit time with reverence for my soul. Let's anchor that intention together, Libra. And don't forget, if this video is guiding you gently back to yourself, like, subscribe, and share this light with someone who may need it. We are healing, together, here at Zodiac Whisper Tarot. When you rise from the ashes of deceit, Libra, something far more powerful begins to awaken within you, a magnetic, radiant energy that draws in not just new people, but new timelines, new truths, and new miracles. The very moment you choose to no longer carry the weight of betrayal is the moment the universe rushes to lift your burdens and surround you with something divinely different. This is the law of sacred substitution. When something false leaves, something true must enter. Not as a reward, but as restoration. Because you were never foolish, you were faithful. Your heart wasn't blind, it was trusting. And that sacred trust, when directed inward, becomes the doorway to your most powerful self. This is the vibrational rebirth you're now stepping into. The old story taught you to feel small for being too soft. But heaven doesn't see your tenderness as weakness, it sees it as readiness. Because only the open-hearted can carry the next level of blessings. Only those who know pain can hold space for joy without fearing its departure. And right now, the energy around you is being purified by the tears you once shed. They were not wasted. They watered the garden where your next relationship, opportunity, and spiritual evolution will bloom. In the sacred laws of energy, every emotional seed planted in truth will bloom in divine time. And Libra, divine time is now. Have you noticed lately that some people have gone silent, disappeared, or been removed from your life without clear closure? That is not chaos, that is cosmic clarity. The universe has begun its divine audit. Those who wore masks around you are being exposed not to punish, but to protect. So you can be rerouted to souls that mirror your depth, your loyalty, your desire for truth. That is the promise of energetic justice. Whatever you lose in truth, you will gain back multiplied. This principle echoes deeply in the words of Jesus. Whoever loses their life for the sake of truth will find it again, 100-fold. This doesn't only apply to death, it applies to every ego death, every ending, every moment you gave up your comfort for your conscience. Your rebirth may not look grand to others at first. It often begins in quiet ways, feeling stronger when you wake up, smiling at yourself in the mirror, no longer replaying that hurtful conversation, or simply feeling peace without explanation. That is your nervous system learning safety. That is your soul re-entering alignment. And as you stabilize in this new identity, someone equally stable, healed, and spiritually awake will be drawn to your field, not through effort, but through resonance. Your next partner, friend, or spiritual collaborator will not come to complete you, they will come because you have completed the cycle that once kept you in pain. Let yourself imagine what it will feel like when you no longer explain your worth. When you no longer apologize for your softness. When you're loved not despite your wounds but because of how gracefully you've carried them. That version of you is not a fantasy, it is a frequency. And you are aligning with it now, each time you speak to yourself with kindness. Each time you refuse to shrink. Each time you say yes to your future instead of trying to fix your past. So today, touch the mirror and say it with your whole soul, I see me. I trust me. I love me. I do not look back. That is your spiritual signature of rebirth. And now, I invite you to ground this transformation by writing in the comments, I welcome my rebirth. I open my heart to my true soulmate. Your comment is not just a response, it is a declaration. A digital affirmation that echoes into the energetic field and amplifies your timeline shift. The channel you're watching, Zodiac Whisper Tarot, is a sacred space for those who are ready to live from soul, not survival. So if this spoke to your spirit, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let your voice be heard. You've been silent long enough, Libra. It's your season to speak your truth, receive your miracle, and be seen for the beautiful soul you are. What if I told you? The moment you stopped denying what your soul already knew, was the moment you stepped into your real power? The truth may have cracked you open, Libra, but in doing so, it also opened a path that was never accessible while you were asleep. You've spent months, maybe years, trying to make sense of contradictions, gaslighting, mixed signals, and false hope. And now, in this very moment, you've come face to face with the most liberating realization: you were never meant to stay in that illusion. This is the other side of truth, the side where pain turns into purpose, heartbreak births clarity, and endings become the spark of spiritual rebirth. Maybe you feel raw, exposed, even emotionally exhausted. That's not weakness. That's spiritual labor. Just like birth, transformation comes with pain, but it's pain with a purpose. You've stepped out of a windowless room, and for the first time in a long time, you're letting the sunlight hit your face. Isn't it intense? Isn't it beautiful? It might even be blinding for a moment. But take a breath, and know this: you were never crazy, you were courageous. You dared to believe in love. You chose to trust. And that trust was not your flaw. It was the evidence of your pure, powerful heart. Sometimes God allows the illusion to linger just long enough for us to outgrow it. To learn how it feels to live in shadows, so that when we step into light, we never take truth for granted again. And you, dear soul, have just crossed over that threshold. You're not just recovering. You're resurrecting. And you are doing it with a softness that still dares to love, and a strength that now knows how to say, never again. So now I ask you, what will you do with your new eyes? What will you say to the version of you that kept hoping, waiting, praying behind closed doors? Will you forgive them? Will you bless them for keeping your flame alive during the darkest hours? You are not just healing. You are being chosen for something higher, something richer, something sacred. The universe does not play dice with your life, and this heartbreak you've endured was not a punishment, it was a redirection. A divine interruption. An invitation into a timeline where no part of you needs to shrink to be loved. This is what rebirth feels like. This is what alignment with truth looks like. It's not always pretty, but it is always holy. Now is the time to anchor this shift with your intention. Look in the mirror tomorrow morning. Say this with your whole heart: I see me. I believe in me. I love me. I will not go back. And if this message stirred something in you, if you felt a deep, undeniable confirmation that this was your reading, comment below and say it: I accept the truth. I protect my light. I am ready to be reborn. Let this be your energetic signature, your contract with the divine. Thank you for walking this path with us. Your journey is sacred, and your awakening is no accident. If this video resonated with you, let the universe hear your yes. Like this video, subscribe to Zodiac Whisper Tarot, and share this message with someone who needs to wake up gently but powerfully. You are not alone. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt in truth and wrapped in the light that never abandoned you. Keep going. You are now on the other side.